Hello and welcome to FS Golf in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania. My name is Frank Stranek and I'd like to talk to you about two methods of matching your clubs. The first method is swing weight matching and the second is moment of inertia or MOI matching. Now probably most of you are familiar with the term swing weight. You may have seen a swing weight scale and have had conversations with a salesman or something who told you about swing weight. Well, the second method, however, moment of inertia matching, you may not be too familiar with. So what I'm going to do is cover both of them, show you how they're measured, talk to you about the advantages and disadvantages of each, and what you may want to do with your clubs in the future. Okay, swing weight versus moment of inertia. All right, what is swing weight matching and how's it measured? Well, first thing to know about swing weight matching is that swing weight is not a weight. It's a relationship. There is a scale that you put the club on. Here's a scale right here. And on that scale there's a fulcrum point, which is 14 inches from the butt end of the club to the fulcrum point, which is right here. What you do is you measure a relationship between this 14 inches of the club and everything that hangs out in that direction. You can adjust swing weight by adding length to the club, by adding or deleting weight to the shaft or grip, adding or deleting weight to the head. And as I said before, it is not a weight, it's just a relationship. So as you change that relationship, you can then change the swing weight of the club. It doesn't tell you any more than that is the swing weight and that is the heft feel of the club when you put it in front of you and shake it. Okay, what is moment of inertia and how is it measured? Well, it's also measured on a scale, whereas swing weight is a static measurement. In other words, you just put it on a scale and it balances. MOI, or moment of inertia matching, is a dynamic measurement. And in that, the grip is connected to this end of the scale. It's clamped right here. You'll see a little hole right here in the top of the unit. The club will rotate back and forth, which is why it's called dynamic. And there's a readout window down here. That readout window will give you a number, and that number is measured in kilograms per centimeter squared. For our purposes, let's just look at it as a number. Okay. So let's go say we bought a set of clubs, or we're looking at a set of clubs, and that set was identified as a D2 swing weight. Does that tell us anything about how much effort we have to put into those clubs to swing them through the impact zone? The answer to that is no. I can have a club that is 400 grams, that's D2, and I can make a club that's 4,000 grams and it's D2. So you can see the number D2 doesn't really tell you anything about effort level to swing the club. Therein lies the advantage of moment of inertia matching. Moment of inertia, in its shortest term, is resistance to twist as you put something in rotation. Well, that something would be your golf club, the rotation would be your golf swing, and as you're swinging the club down and through the impact area, you're going to feel a certain amount of resistance. There is a level of resistance that is comfortable to you. You probably have a few clubs in your bag, maybe one or two, that you can say, when I swing these clubs, they feel great. This is exactly the level of resistance that I would like to have in all of my clubs. However, if you have them swing weight matched, that's not possible. Each of your clubs will feel slightly different, and there may be as many as 4, 5, or 6 dynamic swing weight point differences from those clubs if they were swing weight matched. Whereas with MOI match clubs, what we do is during the fitting, we go through an MOI fitting session, which we have a series of different weighted shafts, and we attach those to the head, and we have you swing them, and we look at the quality of the impacts and ask you questions about how does that club feel to you. Can you sense where the head is in rotation? Is the club too heavy, too light, or is it just about where we want to be? And when we get just about where we want to be, then we start fine-tuning that to get down to the level that we want to be in your particular club. Then we take the club, we bring it to the MOI scale, we put it on there, we rotate it back and forth, and we come up with a number. Taking that number, we will then build your set of clubs to that number within 1/2 of 1% of that number. Now, what's 1/2 of 1%? Well, let's say that your MOI is 2,500. Well, 2,500 would, 1/2 of that would be 12 would be 1%, let's say 12, and 12.5, and then so 6 or a little bit more than that would be 1/2 of 1%. Equate that to something. Well, if I take a dollar bill and I cut it in half, that's 10 MOI points. So you can see the sensitivity that we're playing with here. It's quite tight. So we want to have all of your clubs have that same feel. So as a club fitter and club maker, we set out to build a set of irons or a set of woods to the MOI that you feel most comfortable with. Okay? Now, the two examples I have here, one is a steel shafted club and one is a graphite shafted club. You can see they're both D2. They have different weights, 456 grams for the steel shafted club and 392 grams for the graphite shafted club. And when you look at the MOIs, here's where you can see the advantage of MOI over swing weight. When you're tested, you will have a number. In this case, we said the number might be 2,500. So if your clubs happen to arrive at 2,670, then you're going to know that they're quite heavy or too heavy for you to swing the way that you would like to swing the clubs through the impact zone. Recently, I did a fitting for a player who is a fairly good player, plays at a relatively difficult course, and he had just purchased a brand new set of commercial grade clubs and said, I'm having a lot of difficulty swinging these clubs. I really don't know where the club is at when I swing it, and I'm radically inconsistent. So I said, okay, let's talk about moment of inertia. He was not familiar with it, so we sat down and talked about what it is, how we do it, what advantages it has, and what we might do to his clubs in order to get them MOI matched. Now, I will tell you that if the clubs that you have are already too heavy for you, then there's probably going to have to be some adjustments to the current club, like shaft removal or whatever. If they're too light for you, which was the case here, he could not sense where the head was in the swing, so his impacts were erratic and his landing locations were also erratic. So I set him into the fitting area, and we started swinging his 5-iron, and I started adding weight here and there until we got to the point where he said, that's exactly the weight that I want to feel when I swing the club. We put it on the MOI scale, we got his MOI, and then we went back up to the swinging area with the MOI matched club, and you'll see the differences. Now, the first screen you see here is a screen of his club untouched. This was the swing weight matched club. And as you can see, he's got a grouping diameter of about 29 yards. Not what you would expect from a fairly good player. So let's look at the club that was MOI matched. I'll just blow this up a little bit for you. You can see that the difference here is that the MOI matched club, all of the shots are in a straight line. This is just a little difference probably in swing speed, but they are very accurate, lined up exactly the way you would like to have them, and with a little bit of effort, probably we can get that down even smaller. Now we're talking about a 6-yard radius here with a 5-iron, and that's quite good. So you can already see some of the advantages of MOI matching, because we took the clubs that he could not sense where the club was in rotation, his swing, and we made them to a point where he knew exactly where they were, and they had the exact level of force that he wanted in his club. Now, let's take a look at his swing path and face angle. As you can see here, his swing path is 3.7 degrees to the right with the non-MOI club. In other words, inside out 3.7 degrees, and the face is 1.4 degrees to the right of that. Okay, let's take a look at the MOI matched club. And we'll take a look here, and you can see that for the MOI matched club, his path, his swing path, is now reduced down to 1.4 degrees, and his head is square. So he's able to bring that club back into square, and the directional aspects of this are excellent. Right? Now, you say, well, okay, that's one club. What happens to the rest of them? Well, we did all of them, but for illustration purposes, I just selected the 9-iron. This is his swing weight matched 9-iron. These are shots that I ask him to take just normally. And as you can see, this is 27 yards grouping diameter, which is not unlike what the 5-iron was. Again, he was having difficulty sensing where the head is. When I MOI matched his 9-iron to his number, here's the difference. He's down to 7 yards. So, would you like to go from 27 yards or 29 yards to 6 or 7 yards? I bet you probably would. So, if you want to play your best golf, you might want to stop in and talk to a custom club fitter who is familiar with MOI matching, and see what he can do for you. Remember, it's all about accuracy and consistency, and by building these clubs to one MOI standard, one number, your number, then you can be pretty much assured that you're going to be able to swing all of those clubs with the same rhythm and tempo. You don't have to swing harder for the 8-iron and less hard for the 6-iron and maybe less hard for the 4-iron. You swing them all the same way. And what that does is build consistency into your swing. Consistency will build accuracy. Accuracy will build lower scores, and lower scores win the game. All right? So if you have any questions about MOI matching and the advantages of it, you can give me send me an email if you like, fsgolf@comcast.net, or on the website fsgolf.net, www.fsgolf.net. And I'd be very happy to answer any and all questions you may have on this subject. If you would like to find a club fitter who understands MOI matching, I would suggest you might want to go to either swingsurgeon.com or to agcpgolf.com, and you will be able to find someone who is very familiar with MOI matching and in your area, and will probably be very helpful to you in improving your game down the line. Okay? Have a good day, enjoy your golf, and see you.